Hello there everybody. Season 2 has arrived and the first episode has not disappointed. I absolutely loved it. The Mandalorian gets straight back into the action with the lone gunslinger vibe quickly turning into a classic western. The episode structure was very similar to Season 1 Episode 4, where the Mandalorian had to team up and assist locals to meet his own goals and ends. I thoroughly enjoyed all 52 minutes of this episode, and I'm praying they keep up the longer run times throughout the season, as 30-minute episodes were one of the largest issues I held with Season 1. Just before I begin the breakdown, I just want to say how happy I am that they used so much of the starting footage in the trailers, giving so little of the episode away. I wish more movies and TV shows would make trailers like The Mandalorians. So let's get into the episode. We begin with Mando and Baby Yoda strolling down the dark and vandalised streets of an unknown planet, leered at by the local wildlife hiding in the darkness. They enter what seems to be an underground fighting ring with two Gamorrean gladiators fighting with vibroaxes, reminding us that the inhabitants of Star Wars love a brutal spectacle no matter what planet they're from. The Mando meets with the Abyssian mob boss to track down more Mandalorians to continue his quest, but naturally the scoundrel wants Mando's Beskar armour and tries to take it with threats and force. Mando, calm as ever, tactically and confidently wipes out the gangsters, using his whistling birds and the full strength of his Beskar armour during the fight. The Abyssian mob boss flees the scene like a coward, and we get to see he looks like an alien version of Danny DeVito. Not so tough without his men, Mando extracts his information and leaves him strung up for the local fauna to finish him. This is followed by a roll of the title screen. We discover we are going back to Tatooine, a wretched hive of scum and villainy, to track down a Mandalorian at Mos Pelgos. He returns the Razor Crest to the Mos Eisley spaceport to revisit Amy Sedaris' spaceport mechanic character, Peli Motto, from Episode 5, The Gunslinger. Once again, she gets the clumsy pit droids to service the Razor Crest. In this scene, we do get a blast from the past with A New Hope's R5-D4, the droid that was rejected by Luke and Owen Lars for having a bad motivator, leaving them to select R2-D2. R5 projects the map of Tatooine for Mando, and he gets on the road to the abandoned Mos Pelgos on his old speeder bike from Season 1, Episode 5. Mando and Baby Yoda sweep through the Dune Sea, meeting up with Tusken Raiders and camping with them. Mando's affiliation and respect for the Tuskens really begins to humanise them. All of the films have portrayed them as barbarians and mindless creatures, but we will continue to see the other side of the Tusken Raiders throughout this episode. We continue to follow Mando sweeping through the beautiful canyons and scenery of Tatooine. When he reaches Mos Pelgos, he slowly glides towards the tiny remote settlement. This is where the western and cowboy looks start to ramp up. As he cruises along the main street, all locals watch him, following his entrance. He parks up at the cantina, still being eyeballed, and struts in with the clanking of his armour sounding like spurs. He converses with the Weequay barman, asking about the local Mandalorian, who points him towards the Marshal. He is wearing Boba Fett's armour, which does not sit well on him at all. It looks like a bad cosplay, but we can see the wear and damage the armour has taken over the years and from the Sarlacc pit. The Marshal offers Mando a drink, and they begin to converse. He divulges that Timothy Oliphant is, in fact, Cobb Vanth, which was widely speculated before the airing of this episode. Cobb Vanth is a character that has appeared recently in the Aftermath canon novels as the new owner of Boba Fett's armour. Cobb is truthful about how he got the armour and simply says he bought it off Jawas. Mando believes this is sacrilege and demands he turns it over to him, leading to a tense Western-style standoff. The tension is broken by some rumbling seismic activity and an alarm. Panic ensues and the locals scramble for cover. We see the sand shifting towards the settlement. It rocks the foundations of the moisture evaporators and causes chaos on the main street, making a beeline for a lone bantha on the outskirts. The beast bursts from the sand, engulfing the bantha in one. It's a krayt dragon. This is the first visual appearance of a krayt dragon on screen. However, krayt dragons have appeared in video games like Knights of the Old Republic and Bounty Hunter. They looked far more dragon-like. There is also 2 instances from A New Hope on Tatooine, where C-3PO passes the skeleton of a krayt dragon, and old Ben uses a crate dragon scream to scare off Tusken Raiders to save Luke. What we have here is Disney's latest reimagining of a crate dragon. This is a cross between a shark and a space slug, but I'm all for it. After the crate dragon has gone, the pair put aside their differences and agree to trade Boba Fett's armour for help with slaying the beast. They ride towards their target when Cobb boosts into the frame on a speeder that looks like it's made from one of Anakin's pod racer engines. It has the yellow flaps, although one is missing, the cylindrical look with the rear cone, and if you listen to the engine you can hear it clearly. Cobb begins to tell the tale of how he got the armour. We see a news hologram of the second Death Star exploding and the following celebration. The celebration was cut short as the local mining collective fill the power vacuum immediately by force. Cobb escapes with a contola of valuable silicax crystals, where he traipses and stumbles through the desert until he is found by Jawas. He barters with the stolen crystals for the Mandalorian armour, and they agree a trade. He returns to Mos Pelgos fully suited and deals with the occupiers, finishing the fight with the iconic Mandalorian jetpack rocket. The pair progress through the canyons and deserts until Cobb hears a noise and halts their advance. They stop and draw their weapons, listening to the howling all around them. A large pack of mastiffs begin to emerge from the rocks and advance towards the pair and their stationary speeders. The Mando seizes the initiative and calls out to the animals. They turn out to be domesticated, and then the Tusken owners emerge, who also strike up a deal to eliminate the crate dragon. They camp together, making their plans and discussing the violent history between Mos Pelgos and the Sand People. Once the debate takes an aggressive turn, Mando uses the flamethrower on his wrist to get their attention and calm the situation. They then set off in a classic single-file bantha caravan towards the crate's lair. They begin their plans with the Tuskens, trying to lure it out with a bantha as bait. Meanwhile, they discuss how the crate dragon has eaten a sarlacc and taken the pit for its home. The Tusken calls out for its attention and runs for his life, but to no avail. The beast captures and devours the Tusken. With the Tuskens shocked, the Mando uses his chance and influence to get his ideas across. They map out the tactical layout using highly advanced Tusken strategies and planning that are all to scale. The Mando offers up the villagers of Mos Pelgos as reinforcements, leaving Cobb with the role of persuading them. He appeases to his villagers by also stating the slaying of the Leviathan will also secure the protection of the town and its people's livelihoods. Once they have reached an agreement, with some persuasion by the Mando, they gather their mining explosives and join forces with the Tuskens and share supplies. Naturally, arguments occur with the old foes, but the truce holds for the greater objective. They all set off as a united force to the crate's lair. Upon arrival at the scene, they all disembark at the entrance of the lair. They learn it is sleeping and set up their perimeter. Their trap involves setting up explosives at the mouth of the cave buried below the sand to damage its soft underbelly, which is believed to be its main weakness. One aspect of this plan, which I think is brilliant, is that the Tusken Raiders turn out to be experts in medieval siege weaponry. They set up 5 ballista with harpoons as part of the trap. Once organised, Cobb is handed the detonator and 3 Tuskens advance to the cave mouth and shout into it, echoing deep into the abyss. They hastily retreat as the crate dragon lumbers forward. We get our first full look at more detail of the dragon and another idea of the scale of the beast. The Tuskens' ballista are useless against its hulking mass, not even flinching when hit. In a bid to keep it in the open, they start blasting and hurling explosives, antagonising it out further into the kill zone. In its defence, it spews acidic bile all over a band of Tuskens, dissolving them where they stand. The Mando holds his nerve, watching the carnage through his rifle scope. They detonate the charges and the monster retreats, leaving the combatants confused and perplexed to where it has gone. It bursts from the top of the canyon, further spraying bile all over the battlefield. Cobb and Mando spring into action, grabbing their weapons and jetpacking to the peak. Taking up positions and opening fire, they catch the beast's attention, and it lunges for them, forcing them to reposition at the base of the canyon. The beast itself moves from the high ground to rapidly reappear behind them. They then have to regain the beast's attention by launching a jetpack rocket, which hits it directly in the head, causing it to swerve its course towards them. The Mando asks for the detonator off Cobb, When he receives the detonator, he jams his rifle butt into the thruster on Cobb's jetpack, sending him hurtling through the air, exactly how Han Solo so expertly demonstrated on Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi. He arms the detonator and heroically stands in front of the explosive-laden Bantha as the Krayt Dragon approaches. It rises from the sand and dives on the Mando and the Bantha from above, swallowing them whole and disappearing below the sand. A lengthy pause of silence and uncertainty gives way to the beast emerging with Mando using his pulse rifle to shock the creature, similar to how he fought off the Ravenak in the start of Season 1. A huge explosion ruptures the beast's insides and it crashes to the ground with a victorious but bile-covered Din Djarin posing for the audience. The crowd cheers and celebrates their triumph as the camera pans an aerial view over the colossal destroyed carcass. In the aftermath, the Tuskens immediately set to work harvesting its ichor and carcass as they're part of the agreement. Meanwhile, Cobb and Mando load Boba's armour onto the speeder, parting ways as allies. Once again, they leave his future return an open possibility in true Star Wars style. One of the Tuskens discovers a Krayt Dragon pearl within the corpse, possibly the rarest item on all of Tatooine. This version is an extremely large pearl. In previous LucasArts games, Krayt pearls have been used in lightsabers, but I highly doubt this one will be. As the Mando sets off, a mysterious figure watches in the distance with the twin suns as a backdrop. He's carrying a Tusken gaffy stick and rifle, draped in a dark, long robe. He turns to reveal the scarred and weathered face of Boba Fett. Again, the rumours are true, it is Temuera Morrison reprising his role, but this time as Boba, not Jango, and hopefully clones in the future. And this is the cliffhanger this episode ends on. Well guys, it was a strong opener with tons of Easter eggs and fan service. The Mandalorian has me hooked more than ever. I plan on creating another breakdown next week, so please like and subscribe. I also want to add how after making this video I realised truly how much effort other Star Wars YouTubers go through to create content. As a viewer it can come across as easy, but I now have to respect the detail and response time to bring us content. Please feel free to leave comments below and I will see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.